Hey everyone, this is Nick Stevenson, co-host of the Smells Like Middle-Aged Spirit podcast. Chris and I want to thank you all for your continued support even through these difficult times. Today's episode will be a little bit different as Chris joins me over the phone along with our guests. We wanted everyone to know that we're taking this COVID-19 situation seriously, and we hope all of you are as well. To all who have been affected by this, those who have lost loved ones, those who have lost their jobs or businesses, we stand with you. Not only thoughts and prayers, but anyone who's heading up any type of relief efforts in this time, please let us know so that we can get out in front and get that info out there and help take action. While the world is watching, let's show them that Americans come together when the going gets tough. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Smells Like Middle-Aged Spirit podcast.
What smells so bad?
It's strong, but you'll get used to it. Now here's your hosts, Nick Stevenson and
buddy.
Chris Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Whatever time of day it is, wherever you may be listening in the world, welcome to episode 14 of the Smells Like Middle-Aged Spirit podcast. We are self-quarantined and social distancing today. That's why my buddy Chris Clark is joining us via the telephone. What it do, baby?
What's the damn deal, though?
Bruh, this is weird, but it's all good.
You ain't playing, man.
Brother, the show must go on. I'm thankful you were able to do this. We kept it going, and I'm so thankful that our special guests, Jonathan and Stacye Hughes, have joined us via the telephone as well. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. What's going on?
Brother, appreciate
Doing
you guys
great.
coming on. It's not exactly how we planned it. We figured, look, we hope everybody else out there is being safe. Look, we're not making a huge deal out of this. It's not the end of the world, but it's also not a joke. So we just wanted to kind of set an example here that we're taking this seriously and we're doing the best we can. But like we said, the show must go on. The whole point that I wanted you guys, the whole reason, that I wanted you guys to come on is we did a 3-part series earlier called All in the Family, where we introduced people to our mothers, our wives, and my brother came on. But there's an aspect of family that I did not want to leave out, and that was the extended family. That's the family who may not have the same blood running through their veins, but they still get so close and you go through real life things that you become family. And that's why I'm so blessed and thankful that you guys have come on. And I want to kind of tell that story about how we got to that point, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of those people, I don't just let anybody in my circle, bro. And I think we've discussed that a little bit in the past. It was one of those things where when I was introduced to you guys, I was a little hesitant, probably a little more than I needed to be. And if I would have known that our friendship would become what it has now, man, I would have said shame on me. So let's let our audience get to know you guys a little bit, because you guys are a huge part of our family now. I know that you've come here to defend Florida's honor. Absolutely. So
Who's hating on Florida, man?
so this is what I'm going to do.
I like our crazy.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, wear that like a badge of honor. It's all good. So what I want to do, I want you guys to tell us, like, first of all, how'd you end up here and what was that like? Were you excited? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Like, let us know how you ended up here first, and then we'll get into how our families came together.
I guess we can kind of both tell the story from different aspects of it. We were living in Florida, Jacksonville, Duval,
Already?
and working for a company I'm still working for now. Got opportunity to come to Houston and open a new branch that was opening, and I moved out here and with the family, of course. And we opened up a new store, and we've been here ever since.
So, Jonathan, when you got that news, was that good news? Were you happy? What was the feeling? Because, I mean, obviously you had an opportunity to do something really big, but you got to leave home to do it. So talk about the mixed emotions of that.
Well, that's some of where Stacye comes more into play than I do, because I can pick up and move anywhere. I don't have any qualms against that. Stacye was actually born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, so she was literally leaving friends, family, and everything she's known for most of her life behind. So, babe, why don't you go for that part of it?
I mean, it was definitely, I guess at first it was kind of a shock and a worry. But we, when this was before kids, had picked up and left, and we moved to Georgia for a while. So we'd already kind of done a leave once kind of deal, and I think that made it easier. I think my biggest thing was that Journey was 3.5, our daughter, and so
Right.
it was one of those where we didn't know where she was going to go as far as school went and worrying about school systems because I'd already figured all that out in Jacksonville.
Right.
You guys know I've got OCD and ADHD. So, I mean, pretty much as soon as she was born, I knew where she was going to school.
Right.
So that was interesting. But we lucked out a lot with finding the area that we did. And so, but as far as, I mean, being away from family, it's always hard.
Yeah.
But I think we got super lucky.
Let me ask this real quick. Did you have a say-so in where the branch is going to be located, or did your company just tell you you're coming to Houston?
It was more of it's going to be either Dallas or Houston, and then it turned into Houston, and then it turned into North or South.
Oh man,
And
you lucked
then
out
we have
there.
a couple of we have a couple of national account customers that we are very involved with, and we opted to go closer to them. And one of them is located in Deer Park, and the other one is only essentially at 225 and 610. So they're very close to where we're located currently. So,
Okay. So it was kind of
I
the
was
luck
given
of the
an address. No, well, I was given an address of where the store was going to be, and we kind of threw a dart at places that were close that we could afford.
Right. Gotcha. So yeah, I did forget to mention that you guys do have 2 children. When you guys moved, Stacye, were you pregnant at the time, or did you get pregnant here?
No, I got pregnant here. So like I said, Journey was 3.5.
Okay.
And basically that was fun because I had her in the car by myself the whole drive here while Jonathan was driving the truck with all our shit in it.
Oh, right.
And then Jaden didn't come until after Journey started pre-K.
Gotcha.
And that was basically just I stayed at home with her. So either we have another baby now so that I can do the same thing, or I go back to work and we don't have another kid.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to. I wanted the same chances with Jaden for the head start on education like I did with Journey. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So the kids are an important part of this story because they're kind of how we all came together. Now, how long were you guys here before you had met the Clarks?
At least 6 months, because we invited them to Journey's 4th birthday party.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So she started the pre-K program here a little early before she turned 4 because they called us and told us that they had an opening in the 3's classroom and it was easier to get them into the pre-K classroom if they were already, attending.
Right.
So Journey actually started 3 months before pre-K and was in the 3's classroom with Zoe.
Gotcha.
And then because Fallon was already in the pre-K classroom, when they moved Journey up the following month, she ended up in Fallon's class. So basically from the time she started over there at Fun Care, we were running into Chris and Haley in the hallway and we just kind of shot the shit. I mean,
Right.
as it was like right off the bat.
Right.
But it was still a little weird for a while because, I mean, you don't know who people really are. Lots of people show face when they're picking their kids up from school.
Right.
And they're on their best behavior. And so, like Jonathan said, it was Journey's 4th birthday, 6 months later, that we invited them to come and have Fallon and Zoe there, that we actually got a chance to shoot the shit and get to know each other and realize that a lot of our beliefs were on the same page and a lot of
There's
what we were
actually
doing and raising our kids.
There's actually a little backstory to this. Haley comes home one day and she says, I met this guy at Fun Care. I'm just kind of looking at her and she says, he seems really nice. And my face kind of like changed a little bit. And she's like, I think we should hang out with him. I'm looking at her like, hold
Say
on.
what?
Like, that's the fuck up. You met a guy at a daycare and you want to hang out with him. Like, I don't fucking think so. Like, what? Hold up. Like,
Chris
that's
hated
weird.
me for the first 30 seconds of our relationship. So.
And she was like, no. I
Yeah, that is
promise
a
he's
little
really
bit
cool,
unusual.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Haley, I need to record you and plays back to you in a month and let you hear how fucking crazy you sound. Like, no, that's weird. They just moved here from Jacksonville. I'm like, oh yeah, let me guess. He's lonely and looking for somebody to hang out with. Like, no. We're not doing all this. Like, that sounds crazy.
Because, like, they're from Florida? Oh, hell no.
Hell no. What are you talking about?
But then it gets worse. It gets worse before it gets better. You can't leave out the car story.
I'm gonna let Jonathan tell. I'm gonna let Jonathan take that one.
So there's a couple parts of this. Is Haley, and I guess Chris's recollection I'm going to go with, also failed to mention that Haley had also been talking to and meeting Stacye at that point, had been running into her, not just me, but it was primarily me picking the kids up in the afternoon.
Right.
Yeah.
So she had met Stacye at that point, but apparently she's only talking about this crazy person from Florida to Chris, who subsequently wants to look at me with a baseball bat.
Right.
But it had been many months of this time of just conversation, chit chat, and we had all joked around. Well, Haley was a very quick trying to get in and out, but she would park right in front of the door with her car still running, and then try to go inside and chit chat inside, leaving her car running for like 10, 15 minutes outside.
Right.
Maybe not that long, but that's what it seemed like. And one day I just happened to pull in as the door was shutting behind her, and I noticed it. And I get this bright idea. This again sounds really weird when you say it now. Parked my car, and then jumped in hers and moved it around the corner into a parking spot because she was parked in front of the door blocking traffic. Is what I'm going with. Yes. Needless to say, I walked in, said hi as we always do, chit-chatting, crossing through the hall, said hi to Miss Angela, the director, and the teachers and whoever. Got Journey, and we stopped to talk again to Miss Angela about something Journey was doing, and Haley, Zoe, and Fallon leave. Well, she walks out, and maybe 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, she comes back in and tells me I'm a jerk and this and that and all kinds of other stuff because she realized that her car is still running, only it's around the corner in a parking spot.
Man, so that's bold. That's bold. Let me interject myself for a second because this is the first story I hear about Jonathan when we're hanging out at Chris and Haley's. Yeah, this guy that, his daughter goes to preschool with our kids. He just hopped in my car and moved it without asking me. And I'm like, that's weird. And ballsy at the same time.
Yep.
So
right. So Chris is already nervous about this weird guy from Fun Care gets the story when Haley gets home about how now he's moving her car around on her.
Don't forget Florida.
Like, yeah, no.
This is important.
It's what we do.
We're not playing Florida man. We're not playing them.
Florida man gets shot in Texas for moving man's wife's car.
Oh, man. Okay, so that was the beginning of it. Like, now the relationship is established. And like I said, our kids is what brought us together. So during that 6-month period before you guys started hanging out with the Clarks, like, did you guys try to make friends with anybody else? Not that they matter. I mean, fuck those people, but just curious.
Yes and no, because, I mean, we kind of, I don't want to say we hate people, but
right.
Y'all hate people.
I feel you, bro.
We keep our circle small, too.
Yeah, I feel you.
Keep our circle small, too, and it's hard throwing a big cast net and just like, all right, who's going to work out of this and let's weed the rest out kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah,
sure.
well, and Jonathan was working extra hours, because he's trying to get this place up and running. So he's going in early, he's staying late. Journey's now at the daycare, and like I said, we decided to go ahead and have baby number 2. So I'm at home by myself, pregnant. Right. I'm not going anywhere if I don't have to. I spent those 9 months in sweatpants and didn't care about anybody else.
Right.
So, I mean, literally the Halloween party that Chris and Haley did at their place, I popped Jaden out, a week and a half later.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's crazy. So, Chris, how long did it take before you were like, all right, I think this guy's cool?
We get an invite to Journey's 4th birthday.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Haley comes home. We got the invite. And I'm just looking at her like she's got shit all over her face. Like, look, I don't like this idea. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't something's not right here.
Yeah, I feel you.
the backstory, the whole like, it's hard to explain. It just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, I feel you.
So she's like, no, I've already committed to going. We're going. I'm like, you know what? What the fuck ever. I'll go and I'll bite my tongue for 2 hours and I'll fucking leave. Right?
I mean, they are the bosses.
See, we got you twice because I have to interject. We made it twice as hard for her to say no because Journey had just left the threes classroom where Zoe was, and those were all her friends, and had moved into the new pre-K classroom like 15 days before we sent out the invitation. So Journey wanted to invite the 3-year-old room to come because those are the people she'd already been hanging out with for a couple of months. And we wanted her to stay in contact with her new friends. So Chris and Haley got an invitation from Zoe and from Fallon. They couldn't say no.
Yeah, the pressure was on at that point.
We get all birthday partied up, get ready. I put my big boy britches on. I'm going to go. I'm going to suck it up for 2 hours, whatever. I walk into this birthday party. Keep in mind, when Fallon was, I think, up to 4, our birthday parties were like the most over-the-top, obnoxious thing you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
It was just mayhem. We cleaned for days on end. It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
I walk into this birthday party, and my jaw hits the fucking floor. I cannot believe the detail and the craftsmanship that went into this party. Like, I am truly amazed. There was a watermelon that was carved out. Was it a pirate ship?
Yeah, it was a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay. And I'm not like, I'm telling you, the detail that went into this fucking party was just unbelievable. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, who has time to, like, I thought Haley was bad. Who has time to, like, do this? How did you, now I'm curious.
The pregnant lady who's bored out of her mind.
That's insane.
So there's a bunch of people from the daycare there, right? And it's becoming very apparent to me that me and Jonathan are the only two normal cats here, right? Like, I'm not going to get into the conversations that we had, but it was very not my taste.
I think it was when we both communally hated on another guy that tried bashing everything that you and I both stood for.
Yeah, exactly. It became very apparent that everybody there was not on the same level. Yeah. And that's kind of where the relationship for me took off.
So y'all had the team up.
I majorly misjudged. Yeah. I majorly misjudged this entire situation, and shame on me. Right. Like, look where we're at now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how long you guys had been hanging out with the Hughes before you introduced them to us, but I remember
we met Whitney briefly the night that they did the Halloween party. And I think the first time we officially met both of you guys was just a random Sunday family dinner that we used to do all the time. Yeah. I think we'd met Whitney or I had met Whitney just over there talking with Haley, screwing around or whatever. A couple of other times, maybe 2 or 3, but not very much. Yeah. And Haley called and was like, Whitney and I were talking, and you and Jonathan have to come to family dinner now because you're family.
All right.
And I was like, oh.
It's perfect that you set this up that way, because I do remember this now. Whitney tells me Chris and Haley's friends, Jonathan and Stacye, are coming to family dinner night. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Hold up.
Hold up.
Yeah. Hold up, man. Hold the fuck up. Who? What?
Wild Florida motherfuckers I'm talking about?
Yeah, look, man. Okay, so I have to give a little bit of background on this. As I was going through my growth and development to become the person that I was today, I tried to turn a whole lot of friends into family and got burned. So at this point in my life, I have major trust issues with everyone. It's a miracle that I even got with Whitney. For the majority of my life, it had been me and my daughter versus the world. And around that time, what we were doing on our side of things is Logan was starting to play football for the Tigers in Deer Park. And my wife, I love her to death. Like, she just embraces everybody. Like, she wanted to be friends with everybody. And I remember seeing parents get together at practice and they're hugging each other. Oh, I love you so much. I don't know these people. I'll dab you up and I'll say what's up. Right. I'll give you the head nod yo, what's up? But I love you. Like, are you serious? And I think there was this, Whitney had gone through a divorce previously. Obviously, we were starting a new life together. At this point, we're just dating. And I think we just had a desire, especially Whitney, to just get settled in and make home somewhere. You know what I mean? And Deer Park is a wonderful community for that. There's a lot of families. Most of the people, I'm not going to say most of the people, a lot of the people who live here grew up here. So she already knew a lot of people from when she grew up here. And I think she was just really anxious to bring that family feel back to Deer Park. Now, me on the other end, I've never settled anywhere longer than a few years. And I couldn't tell you what my friends from 7 years ago were doing. Like, so I keep my circle super small. So when they tell me, yeah, they're coming to family dinner night, I was like, hold the fuck up. Nah. I got to figure out what's going on with these peeps. And so I come there and you guys are super nice, cordial. Jonathan is a very charismatic guy. If you guys have never met him before, he comes out and he looks you straight in the eye and he shakes your hand and you can tell he can sell some shit. So he was selling himself and his family to the rest of us. And it didn't help that they had a really cute girl as a daughter, and I'm like, okay, I can't be a complete hater, right? Like, you know, they come in with the family thing going on, so I'm like, all right, let me see what these people are about. We start hanging out, and I figure out that you guys are cool, but I'm not ready to put y'all on that family level yet, right? Like, I see how close you guys have gotten to the Clarks, and I'm not gonna lie to you, like, secretly, I'm super skeptical about this situation. I always say to people, it takes going through some real life shit to figure out, okay, these people are real. They can be my people.
Right.
So
people are.
Absolutely. So I think the first time I had a legit conversation was probably Whitney and Haley's birthday party when we played the water slide,
the
kickball
thing.
Yeah. Bro, we were all lathered up that day. And I don't mean with baby lotion. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, we had been all kicking it back. Even Chris, who don't really get down that hard, and myself, like, that was one of them parties we got down, okay? You know, whenever you meet different people, especially when you're couples and you guys are hanging out, like, everybody has certain boundaries and rules or whatever, and it can definitely vary. So we're all out there, we're drinking, we're playing around, and I think, Jonathan, if you'll recall this, you played a little bit of the slappity ass, play a little bit of the slappity ass, and he was doing it with everybody, but he called Whitney one time, and I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna have to talk to this dude. Because look, I was like, okay, this dude just doesn't know. Like, I wasn't pissed. Like, the old me would have freaked out. But I was like, you know what? Let me holler at this dude real quick. Calm down. I was like, yo, I'm gonna holler. I was like, yo, Jonathan, I know that everybody's got different rules. Nobody knows who's got what rules. I'm like, for me, like, that's not really cool. Jonathan was fucking mortified, dude. First of all, he meant nothing by it. Jonathan probably texted me for the next 3-4 days, like, dude, I'm really sorry, bro. It was, you know, I didn't mean anything by it. And I'm like, Jonathan, we're good, bro. But like his fervor and his, like, he could have been like, dude, fuck you. I ain't do nothing. Like, you know what I mean? But his fervor for the situation and him really wanting to be like, yo, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I felt that. And I was like, you know what? Because like I said, this was like 3-4 days later. He's still like, yo, man, I'm really sorry. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm over it, dude. Like, it was whatever. But that told me something about Jonathan. I'm like, dude, this guy's a pretty stand-up dude. So that was the first thing that happened that kind of softened me up. As the kids start getting older, you know, we're watching Journey grow up. Jaden comes into the picture. And like I said, we just went through some real life stuff. My wife and I were going through some very difficult times trying to get custody of Maddie around the time that you guys came along. And sometimes we would sit in the garage, and as I'm telling this story to Chris and Haley, like, you guys are right there, and you guys would have advice to give or just be somebody to listen. And that's the real life stuff that I'm talking about that kind of brings us closer together. And that's what kind of started dragging me in. And what put it over the top for me, once we finally get Maddie here, it was a very difficult time for her. She has no sense of home and family. And what I really wanted for her was to be surrounded by people that were her people, of family, to have her have this sense of belonging and community. But it gets me kind of emotional when I think about how I thought of you guys previously and how I think of you now, because you guys had no reason to cut for and support my daughter the way that you guys have. And Chris, you and I talked about in previous episodes how certain moments we like to live in them and we're not going to worry about recording it on our smartphone or anything. Putting Maddie in cheerleading and in drill team was a huge deal, more than anybody really understands, because of everything her and I had gone through before. Jonathan and Stacey, you guys had zero obligation in the beginning, because in the beginning, your daughter was not a starlight. She was a twinkle. Like, y'all could have showed up, did y'all's thing in the morning, and then left. You had no obligation to stay there and support her and my son the way that you guys did, but you guys were always there. It didn't matter how early in the morning, and you guys would be there to take pictures and video whenever I was just trying to take in that moment. And that was the thing for me, the support and the love that you guys gave to my daughter. That's what softened me up and said, you know what, Nick, you need to chill. Like, these people have proven themselves to you. I've had this conversation with you guys multiple times, and it's the reason I wanted to have you guys on this show. I think it's true. You shouldn't just trust anybody that comes into your life, and you can get burned, but you also can't be so hard and so cynical that you don't let good people come along. We all are going to need each other at some point. We all have needed each other at some point. And the way things are going right now, who knows in 2-3 months how badly we're going to need one another. And I think to myself, if I hadn't given you guys that opportunity to really ingratiate yourselves into our family, it wouldn't be the same. We need you guys. We need Journey. We need Jaden. We need you guys. You guys, without you guys, what we have, our dynamic is not the same. And I just wanted to tell you guys that in front of the world so they all hear it.
Well, we greatly appreciate that. I mean, the other side of that is how y'all are kind of saying that us coming in and integrating into your family has made y'all help out and stuff like that. It's actually been a big deal for Stacey and I, because I don't want to say that we don't know anybody else other than you guys, but y'all are our people. I mean, if something happens, it's Chris and Haley and Nick and Whitney. Like, hey, have you let them know this is what's going on yet? And then we go from there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's been a big deal for us, because we said earlier, is our family is elsewhere.
Right.
The closest person that lives to us family-wise is Stacey's mom, who still lives 4 hours away in Longview.
Right.
So, I mean, you guys, I mean, even with y'all's parents and everybody, Whitney and Haley's mom, Daleen, she looks down and calls Journey and Jaden her grandkids too, and gets them Christmas presents the same, and treats everybody the same. And I mean, she does the same courtesy for Stacey and I. I mean, y'all have all accepted us in, and it's been great for us to have the addition to our lives and family.
Yeah. And that's another thing I had to do, is put myself in y'all's shoes. Go ahead, Stacey.
I was just going to say, and Chris's parents too. I mean, you know, my mom and my dad being so far away couldn't do grandparents' day that one year. And Elizabeth went up there, Chris's mom. And I mean, she did all the activities, pulled Journey from class and hung out with her, just like she was one of the actual grandkids. And it was awesome. Journey came home, the smile on her face was crazy big.
Right.
You know, and she was just so stoked.
That's an amazing thing.
It's a big thing to us, just like you said about Logan and Maddie and Hannah, that, you know, for Journey and Jaden to still have that family is huge.
Yeah. And I told you guys, after the support you guys gave to my family, like, there's no way in the world, whatever Jaden and Journey got going on, I'm going to be there front and center, just like you guys were. Chris and Jonathan, you guys brought up something interesting, though. You talked about how at the birthday party, you guys were talking to some other people, and it became evident really quick that, like, you guys were on the same page about a lot of things as far as, I guess, just life goes, morals, beliefs, and whatnot. What's crazy about that is we talk about all the time about how our show, we want to show that people who aren't the same, have different backgrounds, can get along. And to be honest with you, Jonathan and Stacey, I've been friends with you guys for 4 years. I don't think one time we've ever talked about politics, religion. Like, I don't think any of that has ever come up, nor has it mattered, you know. And
well, see, and that's the thing, is it actually has come up. We just have had our 2 cents about it. We say, okay, I get your point, you get my point, we agree to disagree. Yeah. We just keep going about our days, and that's why it doesn't seem like we've ever talked about it, because it hasn't mattered.
Right.
If that makes sense.
The reason I made that post on Facebook and tagged you guys in it a couple of days ago, I said, what if a few nobodies from Texas change the world? Because if what happens in our circle could happen everywhere, just imagine that. Imagine people coming together and understanding that they disagree about certain political views, maybe religious views. Maybe they're not exactly on the same page about parenting and other guidelines of that nature, but are able to come together and realize that people are people, not everybody's the same, and what we do have in common far outweighs the things that are different.
Right.
That's
and
why.
To interject on that,
Go ahead.
I do want to make it clear that it wasn't just that Chris and Jonathan had the same viewpoint. The big thing, I think, even more than the same ideals that brought them together, having those conversations at Journey's birthday party, was the fact that one gentleman specifically was bringing things up. And like I said, we won't go into details, but things such as gun rights and politics and that sort of thing. And he reached a point where he was standing up and raising his voice and being loud at a 4-year-old's birthday party because somebody had a different belief than he did.
Right.
And Jonathan and Chris were both able to get their points across, put their 2 cents in, and stay calm about the situation, and then try and change the subject, because that's not the kind of conversations you have at a 4-year-old birthday party anyway.
Yeah, man.
Let alone be the one to bring them up and then show your back.
For real, man. I'm at a birthday party.
Yeah,
I'm trying to bounce in I'm trying to be in the bouncy house and get some cake. I don't give a fuck about what you think about guns, bro. Fuck out of here. I'm trying to hit this. I'm trying to hit this pinata.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't bringing up these conversations. The guy that was actually getting mad was the one bringing up the conversation.
Yeah,
too.
of course.
Like Chris and I, your brother-in-law and your sister-in-law pretty well, Chris and Haley.
Yeah.
As soon as they walked in, Haley did her, I'm going to give myself a tour of the house. You guys have pictures hanging. And she was like, I feel like she walked through the house and saw a couple of our like collage-style framed photos. And there's a couple pictures of Stacye by herself with friends, me with myself, us together, just whatever. And she was like, yeah, y'all are our kind of people. These are stupid. Some of the photos she saw. She's like, I think I have a picture like this in our house too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's one guy at every party though, right? Who wants to go there. But I think that's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about our group. We get loud. We'll yell when we're playing dominoes or something, we'll get hype in a debate. Right. We'll get hype in a debate. Exactly. We'll get hype in a debate about music or, whatever's going on. Like, we get loud. And that slip and slide kickball tournament got very, very heated and contested. It was but it was all love, like everybody wanted to win though. Like it was serious. If everybody could just kind of take the same approach, and I hate to sound like I'm sitting here tooting our horn like we are the world, but there's a part of me that would love to have a bigger circle than we have. If everybody could just get on board with that. Look, man, it's not about what makes us different. It's about the things we have in common and the real life shit that we have going on. I don't know, man. I'm just proud of it. I wanted to let you guys know, Jonathan and Stacye, you are much as a part of our family as anybody. Look, I have blood relatives. They don't fuck with me anymore. I was determined at a certain point, like, okay, I'm going to put together my own family. I thought once I married Whitney and Maddie came to live here and we were all together and we had Chris and Haley and their kids and, Whitney and Haley's mother, like I thought this is good. We don't need nothing else, right? But like I said before, I can't imagine what our circle would be like if you guys were not in it. And I don't know if anybody else listening has had a similar experience, moving to someplace new, not knowing anybody, having to go through the emotional part of your kids, not having any friends, missing their old friends, the trouble of trying to figure out, okay, who's good, who's kosher, who's not. It sucks. If you can do it and you can find your people and they got your back, it's a beautiful feeling, man. So once again, I appreciate you guys.
Exactly.
And we appreciate it.
So, Jonathan, let's talk about some of the things you guys bring to the table. Chris mentioned the detail of your wife putting together birthday parties, arts and craft, anything of that nature. Like Stacey's the go-to. That's where we go. I'm telling you, because she's got everything on fleek. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what your she shed is looking like these days, but I just imagine that it's got everything. And I don't want people showing up at your house because I know we're going through some shortages on certain items. But if anybody needs to do arts and crafts, like Stacey's got the hookup. Every time Hannah could come up to me like, do we have paper? I'd be like, no, let me call Stacye. We don't even have paper. What's going on? I'm going to give you a piece of printer paper, but Stacey's got everything you guys need. What Jonathan has brought to my life that I appreciate is the man has knives and knows how to use them. As long as we've been doing cookouts in my house, bro, I never have good knives. And dude, because I'll let everybody know. You used to be in culinary arts. Were you a certified chef?
Once upon a time, yeah.
Once upon a time.
That certification.
Okay,
has
so I got
not been retested, but
I
got something to throw into this. So the first time that Jonathan and Stacey came over for dinner, right? I did not know Jonathan was a chef.
Right.
My ass put together fucking 2 pounds of taco meat and fucking HEB cheesy taco mix, and I'm thinking like, hell yeah, right?
Bro, I'm so glad you're telling this story.
Dude, the second I figured out I'm feeding a fucking chef goddamn 80-20 taco meat and fucking cheesy tacos, I'm like, oh my, bro, what? Hold up, man. Like, how did we let this happen?
Bro, nobody understands the pressure.
Yeah, I know.
Your
it's
wife
crazy.
telling you, hey, everybody's coming over for dinner. Oh, Jonathan and Stacey are coming too. I'm like, fuck. We ain't got no damn knives.
Yep.
I'm like, do we have any seasoning? I'm like, God, all we got is salt and pepper. This is bullshit.
Yeah, but you'll notice now that at the end of the day, I'll put ketchup on a saltine cracker if it keeps me from going hungry.
Right,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
It's just
the best meal I've ever had is the one I didn't cook.
yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
And I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
Everybody loves tacos.
for sure. And it's so simple. I just know that every time, like, I'm never thinking about the fact that we don't. Okay, first of all, we have knives now, 4 years later. But when you used to come over, I never thought about the fact that we didn't have knives until Jonathan came over. And Whitney would be like, Jonathan and Stacey are coming over. Like, fuck, we don't have any knives. Because, like, I'd be sitting there trying to cut up vegetables with a steak knife. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Trying to mince with a paring knife or some shit. I'm like, God, we got to get some. Every time they leave, baby, we got to get knives. God damn it. So let me ask you, Jonathan, because first of all, I think I've only eaten your cooking like 2 or 3 times. And it was usually simple shit. So how'd you get into culinary and where did that break off for you? Where you decided I'm gonna do something else?
Well, when I was younger, there's only a few places that hire you really young: grocery stores and restaurants.
Right.
Because you can be like 14 or 15 in most states, and you can be like a bagger or a busboy or something like that.
Right.
Well, I went the restaurant route, and I was a busboy at a restaurant that one of my friend's aunts was a bartender at or something like that.
Okay.
And started working there. Found out that you can make a lot of money if you are personable. So that's kind of where I learned that skill. And started just kind of working my way. And then when I was about 16 or so, of course, being a guy in a restaurant, you talk with the kitchen guys instead of the servers.
Mm-hmm.
And they crossed me over to the dark side, and I started cooking when I was about 17 or so.
Okay.
And then had been cooking ever since. And I found out pretty much my senior year in high school is when I was essentially full-time cook, so to speak.
Right.
I moved out my junior year in high school, had my own place my senior year, and found out I could work more than I could go to school. So
boom,
I did that.
Yeah, done deal. Get that money.
Yeah, and I mean, I would still be doing it now. The only reason why I made the trek from starting off young, and then I've been through culinary school. I've worked at some really nice restaurants. I've had the opportunity of working with some really good chefs who are also still out there in the field now. I actually joke around with you guys about that all the time. I was like, let me know if you're going to this place or that place. Go to this restaurant. My buddy was the chef there, or whatever the case is. It's difficult sometimes, but the change came over is because I wanted something more conducive to family life.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah.
When we moved back home shortly before Journey was born, and I had opportunities to continue working in restaurants as a chef, but had the opportunity to apply for where I'm working at currently still, and still worked part-time for a few years as a cook at some of the restaurants I worked before, just with friends that needed help and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be there for my kids growing up, so to speak.
Right.
So working in restaurants, you always work nights, you always work weekends, you always work holidays. And I missed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to keep doing that. So that's kind of where I ended up, and why the opportunity for the promotion and moving to Houston was a big deal as it was, because I'd only just stopped working part-time shortly before I got offered that.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like
That's
here
awesome.
you go. Here's all the hard work you're doing. Here's an opportunity to make more money to provide for your family and still be there at the same time. So
There you go. Well, we've talked about that many a times, taking that leap of faith, making a change, and doing it for the right reasons, man. And it's worked out for you guys. And we're thankful that it did, because that's what brought you here, man. So, but Stacye, I mean, was Jonathan cooking when you met him?
Oh yeah, he was already cooking.
Okay. So
And I don't cook.
That was a perk.
And,
Yeah, that was a
when
perk.
he met, oh, for real. I mean, well, no, at first it was a curse, literally, because I grew up, my mom did feeding everybody every night, and our whole family there in Jacksonville the whole time we were growing up.
Right.
So everything that we ate was your tacos and your spaghetti and your big meal, make them super cheap and feed an army kind of meal.
Yeah.
So I basically grew up eating chicken nuggets and French fries and macaroni and cheese and corn and spaghetti. And that was like it. So when I first met Jonathan, he's like, "Oh yeah, try this." I'm like, "I don't fucking think so."
Yeah.
I had absolutely no palate when it came to food whatsoever.
You're like, what the fuck is a parsnip?
Yeah, exactly. He put something down in front of me, and I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "It's chicken." I'm like, "It don't look like chicken. I'm not eating it." So it took a while. It did. But now it's a huge blessing, because, like I said, I don't cook either. And so now my palate is advanced.
Right.
My cooking skills still suck, and I'm still married to a chef. Now I can eat whatever I want, not have to cook it.
Now, Jonathan, you probably regret ever telling us that you were a chef, because now you end up cutting all the vegetables every time we get together. They're just sitting there waiting for you.
It's not that big a deal. It's actually not that big of a deal, because you talked about wanting knives. Hey, baby, we got to get knives. And then, what was it, 2 years ago, our Christmas party, the oven mitt wrap gift was the knives that Chris and Haley got.
Yeah. I was so mad. Bro, okay, first of all, let's talk about that really quick, because you guys became part of our family Christmas tradition, and we get together every Christmas. We exchange gifts between the kids. We play this ornament game where we all eventually end up exchanging ornaments. And then we do the gift wrap that's wrapped several times, taped. And every year that we do this, that's another one of those times that we're getting super loud, super competitive. This year it got a little bit heated, bro. I'm not going to lie. Or this past year. First of all, for like 3 years straight, I felt like I was getting the short end of the stick, because I would damn near get that thing open. And then somebody, I'd do all the work, and somebody would get that thing open right after I did all the hard work. So what's funny is this year, Whitney and I bought the gift, so I knew what was inside of it. And I was like, I want that motherfucker. So, I missed out on the knives too. And I was disappointed about that, because I was like, babe, we could have had knives. Okay, like we kind of have knives now. They're not even... like, they need to be sharpened, but I don't feel as bad. Like, if Jonathan comes over and asks me for a chef's knife, like, I can actually hand him a chef's knife and not like a butter knife and be like, sorry, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, it's so much pressure, man. But, I mean, like, once again, that's just, I love our dynamic in that way. Like, we all bring something to the table. I still haven't discovered exactly what I bring to the table yet, but we all have our place, and it's a beautiful thing. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to go ahead and stand up for Florida while we have a little bit of time here, because we went in pretty hard on it. So is this something that you're used to when you're from Florida?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So people are always going in on you and telling all these stories. Here's the thing, dude. I had no intention of giving Florida shit until I started Googling dumb people doing dumb shit, and everybody was fucking from Florida. And I was like, what is happening?
Everybody from Florida.
Yeah, it's really a big deal. The difference being from Florida is that you see it when you're walking down the street, so it's kind of a norm. It's not a culture shock reading it on the internet from halfway across the country.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, for us, it's just, here we go again.
No, man, it's Florida. It's just hot.
Yeah, I feel you. It's hot. It's humid. It's sweaty. I feel you, man. It's one of those things though. If you guys were gonna come in, like I wanted to bring up some new stories from Florida and show you. Like if you go search the Huffington Post.
Are you fact checking these stories? Are these people from Florida?
Every single one I pulled up was from Florida. We had that one from Tennessee, the guy who was smoking weed in the courtroom.
From Florida, but are they really?
I don't know, man. I think maybe Huffington Post has like a grudge against Florida. Every single story is somebody from Florida.
No, dude. People are crazy there.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's cool.
Look, you do know Stacye and I mean, we're like
And here's the deal.
We're not exactly the same.
As long as you can embrace it, that's the important part. Hey, Stormy's making her debut on the Smells Like Middle-Aged Spirit podcast.
I know. I was trying to get away from it.
It's all good, baby.
It's
all good. Hey, it's all in the family, man. That includes everybody, including Stormy.
That's it. That's it.
All right, man. So, what you guys been up to during this quarantine time? I know, Chris, you must be going stir crazy, brother. You can't sit still for nothing.
Dude, I tell you what, I've actually been busy like a motherfucker every day in that backyard.
Oh, yeah. See, I knew you weren't going to sit around.
No. Hell no.
I saw you were passing out hand sanitizer.
Yeah, dude, we actually delivered 200 bottles of that stuff.
That's what's up. Yeah, I do. Look, it's a really difficult time right now, but I do want to holler at everybody and just remind them, look, the people who are hurting the most are the small businesses, the families out here,
dude,
trying to take care of their families and do the right thing by their community. So any way you guys can support small business, that includes Falzo, Fair Dinkum, anybody in this area. Yeah. I know our friend Sarah from the Urban Soap Bar, they were struggling a little bit. So anything you guys can do to support small businesses. I want to give all these small businesses credit. I've seen some people being very creative. I don't know if you saw in Oregon that there was a strip club that was having the strippers deliver food to.
I saw that. I did see that.
I believe they called it. I believe they called it Boober Eats. What they would do is the strippers would, like, they were wearing pasties and they would deliver food. The bartenders were the drivers. Like, they were just trying to stay busy. And I think Oregon, Washington, like, they're hit pretty hard right now, man. So look, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things that to be nervous about. One of the things, I didn't want to get into it too heavy on here, but I did want to mention, like, hey, the people who are hurting the most is the small businesses. So get out there and support them, support one another.
Absolutely.
None of that stuff we talked about before matters. Politics and religion, like, look, these are people struggling to take care of their families, and everybody is on edge a little bit. And if we can just do the right thing and stick together while being apart at the same time, stick together, but be apart. Don't hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah, do the right thing. But then we're gonna see our way through this, man. So that goes for everybody. Like I said, Deer Park, but we have listeners all over the country, even in France. Parlez-vous. What's up? Y'all all take care. Stay safe out there, man. And we'll get through this thing for sure.
Message us. If you're the person listening in France, please message us.
Yes, we need to know who's listening in France.
We want to talk to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll use Google Translate. Siri can hook it up.
There you go.
For sure.
There you go.
So, Jonathan, are you still at work right now?
Yeah, as you know, I am in safety sales and distribution. Right. So safety means gloves, masks, respirators, Tyvek suits, hand sanitizer, wipes. If it has anything to do with this virus, it is going out the door like crazy. Yeah. We have actually been exponentially busier. And we, as a company, made a decision to pretty much let everybody work from home, minus myself and one other person. So him and I are both salary as it is. We're both kind of we run the location as it is. Right. So we've been turning and burning and trying to put product into people's hands to help keep them safe for their workers, because there are still a lot of companies that are allowing work to go on. Some of the construction and the lawn maintenance and the waste industry is another big one that's actually working a lot, because people still have trash, especially now. Right. They're at home a lot more often. So these companies are trying to do what they can to keep their workers safe, to keep our lives running in somewhat of a normalcy. So
absolutely. And shout out to them, man. We have to thank all of those people. you know, even especially especially, you know, in the medical field, all the doctors and nurses and people putting themselves in harm's way. And, you know, there's a shortage all over the country of some of these supplies. Are you feeling that here in Texas right now, Jonathan?
Absolutely. We actually we have locations countrywide, but we've actually talked with all of them, and everybody nationwide is having trouble securing. And this is all the way up to a manufacturing level.
Right.
Like they can't produce them fast enough to fill orders. And
right.
I mean, it's really, I see some of the things firsthand because we have to stay in touch with what we're allowed to sell, how we're allowed to sell it. Certain manufacturers are putting restrictions on amounts allowed to be ordered at a time so that people aren't mass hoarding and stuff like that. So it's
and that's, I mean, I know people are upset by it, but that's one of the biggest reason that we're doing this social distancing thing and self-quarantining is because right now the personal protective equipment and the resources needed to put a cap on this thing are just not available at a fast enough rate. So I know everybody's frustrated.
They're literally not.
Trust me. Yeah. I mean, I know everybody's frustrated. Trust me. I wish we were all together right now doing this podcast in person, but we just got to do what we got to do to survive. And, you know, just be mindful of the people, you know, even though this thing might not affect you, like just be mindful of the other people that it is affecting or it could affect. So,
oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, for sure.
Exactly. I was just going to say, you know, I've got family with COPD and my mom's boyfriend's got family with cystic fibrosis, and like all those people can't handle this kind of stuff. And it was like I was telling you the other day, like, you know, we love each other enough to stay away from each other.
Absolutely. Because look, there's people out there carrying this thing with no symptoms. It's not affecting them at all, but you never know who you might pass it on to. So,
and that's the scary part, dude. That's the scary part about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is you don't know if you have it or not.
Yeah.
You know, there's people walking around saying, I feel fine. I'm not showing any signs of symptoms. Like, that's all fine and dandy. But if you are carrying it and you pass it on to an 80-year-old who's, you know, hanging on by a thread, or somebody with a, you know, weak immune system, like, they're not going to be so lucky.
And that just takes takes having a selfless attitude about the whole situation.
Yeah.
You know, we're not here to talk about who to blame for what. Like, none of that matters. I see too much of that right now.
No,
like,
of course not.
Everybody's wanting to point fingers and they're turning into a political thing. Like, the reality of the situation is there is a virus and it is spreading quickly. And there are people who will probably be fine and there are people who are not fine. So treat everybody the same. Treat everybody, just use your head, use your heart, treat everybody the same. Act like everybody has it. And if we do the right thing,
wash your damn hands.
Wash your damn hands.
Wash your nasty ass hands. Good God.
Bruh. Okay.
Holy shit.
Speaking of which,
and cover your mouth.
Let's talk about our children and their hygiene really quick. Because that is what has been driving me the most fucking crazy. Is like, I'm trying not to freak out and like scare my kids, but at the same time, like, first of all, I already had a hard enough time getting these motherfuckers to shower and wash their ass in the first place. And now, like, you have this added pressure of like, dude, like, they'll just walk around and they'll be like wiping their nose on each other, snotting everywhere, like coughing, spitting while they're eating. Like, y'all need to chill, bro. Like, for real.
Yep.
Especially if you have any boys. Like, boys are gross. Boys are so gross. But yeah, man, what's funny about this thing is I didn't even want to get into this super heavy, but this is going to change everything forever. Like, the way we view communicable disease or virus, or like, this has been a game changer. And hopefully the effects won't be life altering for us as a majority.
Really hope not, man.
A majority. Trust me, it's already altered some people's lives. There are people who've lost loved ones. There's people who've lost jobs because of the economy. I'm just hoping that you know us, Chris, we're optimistic people. We're hoping there's light at the end of that tunnel. And we're going to do our part here locally to try, like I said, support small business, do what we can to not get this thing spreading all over the place. And, you know, even I'll be at work next week, but I've been trying to, you know, stay distance from everybody else. It's changing the way that we think on a regular basis, because this isn't the last virus or pandemic that's going to happen. There'll be another one. And hopefully going through this experience is going to teach us what we need to know to make it less impactful the next time. Definitely. So I guess we're putting off the family. Definitely. I guess we're not having family dinner night tomorrow. Is that what I'm hearing
No.
here?
No. We can all agree to cook tacos.
Yeah, we'll just
Let's just all agree to cook tacos tomorrow night, and we'll video chat each other.
Yeah, there you go. We'll be like, hey Alexa, we'll just put all the Alexas around the table and do our thing.
Exactly.
Oh, that's what's up. Mama, I'm so glad you guys came on. I wish you guys were here. I hope you guys stay safe. Jonathan and Stacye, we love you. We love your kids, Jaden and Journey. Chris, y'all stay, bro. I know you're protecting your family. And everybody I want y'all to stay safe. And it won't be long before we're sitting at the same table again, chopping it up.
Exactly.
We'll have to next time we play dominoes, though, we're just going to hand sanitize after every time you slap one down, Domaho. And then you got to get that hand sanitizer out, man. Well, I'm so glad.
Play with gloves on.
What's that?
There you go.
Take the hand sanitizer. We'll use rubber gloves.
Yeah, that's true. But then you got to sanitize the glove. This shit has got me so paranoid, bro. Like, I won't even wear my hats. I'm like, this shit could be on my hat. I'm like, oh, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But
Jonathan showed me a Facebook thing just yesterday, and it's the guy he's in the bathroom and he starts to wash his hands, and then he turns the water faucet off and realizes he touched the faucet. So then he cleans the faucet and he re-washes his hands.
It's a never-ending cycle.
He touched the soap bottle. So then he's got to wash the soap bottle, and then he touches the handle to the door, and so he's got to wash that, and then he leans up against the wall because he's tired of it all, and then he's got to wash the wall. And
bro, we just need a swimming pool. We just need a swimming pool of hand sanitizer. Just jump in that bitch.
Hey, man, some people got it. Some people fucking got it.
Yeah, that's true.
Good Lord.
That is very true. But, man, I'm glad you guys came on. You guys stay safe. I love all of you. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. There's probably all kinds of movies you could have been watching. I don't know, whatever anybody's doing when they're sitting in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to us right now, we appreciate so much you guys taking the time to tune in and listen to us talk about our crazy family. We love one another, and we know you guys have probably had similar experiences. If you like what you're hearing from us on a regular basis, tell the world about it. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Why do I keep mentioning Twitter? We're on Facebook and Instagram, though. We're on both of those, and there's people on there showing us love. We mentioned before, whatever platform you listen to us on, go rate the show. Go leave a review and tell us what you think. This is a podcast for the people and by the people. Do any of you have anything to add before we get out of here?
I just want to say that we love you guys, too, and we're glad to be here.
Already.
Absolutely.
All right, bud. Well, Chris, you good?
I'm good, brother.
All right, man. I'm going to see you soon, man. Once again, thank you very much for listening to the Smells Like Middle-Aged Spirit podcast. For my guests, Jonathan and Stacye Hughes, my name's Nick Stevenson.
And my name's Chris Clark. We'll see y'all next time.
You've been listening to the Smells Like Middle-Aged Spirit podcast with Nick and Chris. For more show content, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.